Welcome to Weather School lesson number 5. 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the Arkansas Weather blog already posted there for all the parents and teachers out there. Thank you for coming to us for Weather School number 5, all about lightning. While I've got everybody here, download that KATV Weather app, download that KATV News app. Make sure that everybody has that on the phone, on your smartphone, as we are in the middle of our primary severe weather season. And even though we're in our primary severe weather season where we get a lot of lightning, usually and sadly, lightning fatalities go up in the summertime. Why in the summertime and not the springtime? Because more people are outdoors. Got a video about lightning, some graphics about lightning, and some very interesting things you may not know about lightning and how it forms. So again, I want to welcome everybody in here as everybody files in. Please keep sharing this with your friends and your family, your students. Gather around the TV set. And one other thing I would love for you to do before we get into this, which I'm going to start in just a few seconds, take a picture of your kids or your students or whatever watching Weather School and send them to me. You can do that on Twitter. Send them to me on Twitter, on Facebook. Or you can go to KATV.com and chime in, upload them there. Just somehow take a picture enjoying Weather School so that we can send this and put together a cool little montage. I'm going to start with the video, then we're going to go to some graphics and some pretty interesting things you may not know about lightning. It's not the thunder that the kiddos should be scared of at all at night when you're sleeping and you're woken up by thunder. It's the lightning that worries us. Of course, the thunder produced by the lightning. Here's a very important video. It's about 2 minutes long from our friends at NOAA.
Lightning is a rapid discharge of electrical energy in the atmosphere. Each spark can span over 5 miles in length, reach temperatures hotter than the surface of the sun, and contain 100 million volts of electricity. Lightning strikes are not only dangerous, they can be deadly. The electrostatic discharge occurs within a cloud, between clouds, or between a cloud and the ground. Lightning doesn't strike the ocean as much as land, but when it does, it spreads out over the water, which acts as a conductor. It can hit boats that are nearby and electrocute fish that are near the surface. If you're at the beach and hear thunder or see lightning, get out of the water. Get off the beach and take shelter in a building or in your car. If you're at sea, head back to a shelter on land. If you can't, either stay low in the boat or retreat to a cabin. Do not use electronic equipment during the storm. Every year, millions of lightning flashes fill our skies. Each one has the potential to cause a devastating and shocking impact.
Okay, lightning does not make a storm severe. Heavy rain does not make a storm severe. Again, a lot of people will hear thunder produced by lightning and it's super loud and it's frightening and think, oh my gosh, why are we not under a severe thunderstorm warning? Lightning doesn't make a storm severe. Only wind and hail can do that, but lightning makes it dangerous and can make it deadly. All right. Let's go to the weather graphics and show you how lightning is formed. Of course, you got to have a thunderstorm, and we get a lot of those this time of the year, especially into the summertime. It starts with those electrons. You get a buildup of those charges in the cloud, in the thunderstorm. You get a buildup of the charges on the ground, and those electrons, they begin what are called a step leader. If I could just talk today. And you get a discharge. It's kind of like when you're touching the doorknob on a dry day and your feet are rubbing up against the carpet, on a very dry day, and you build up this charge, and then you touch that doorknob, and that spark of electricity is discharged. Sort of the same thing happening here. The leader nears the ground, and it draws the positive charge upward as the thunderstorm moves along. And as the leader and streamer merge, a powerful electrical current will flow, and it can flow several times. It can flicker. The return stroke is what we see, and it's traveling, get this, at 60,000 miles per second. And again, it repeats. It can flicker and happen several times before the discharge is complete. So those buildup of charges all can happen in less than a second, and it discharges, and that's the lightning, and then you hear the thunder that's produced by it. Lots of different types of lightning, and it shows you how each one is common or rare or uncommon. Lightning within a cloud is very common. Cloud to sky, a bolt from the blue, which I got a picture of, I'm going to show you in just a little bit, but you see at the top there, cloud to sky, that does happen from occasion, and they're pretty fascinating when they do happen. Again, very common is lightning within the cloud, and then of course we know cloud to ground, that is common, but ground to cloud is a little bit more rare, and cloud to ground positive strikes, that's uncommon. And you may have also heard a thing about heat lightning. Heat lightning, by the way, there is no such thing. Now you can tell how far a lightning strike, this is something that you may not know, and maybe the next time that you hear thunder, you can actually get a fairly good estimate ballpark as to how far that lightning strike was. Now it depends on the air temperature, but 1 mile of travel in about 5 seconds, depending upon the air temperature, but even with that, it doesn't change it all that much. So the speed of thunder, the speed of sound at 40 degrees is a little slower, 747 miles per hour. At 60 degrees, 762, and at 80 degrees, 776. So there is a little bit of a difference, but not all that much. So this is what it takes for that sound wave to travel 1 mile, all between 4 and 5 seconds. So if you see that flash, start counting the seconds as to how long it takes for you to hear the thunder, and then you can multiply that by about 5 and figure out how many miles that lightning strike is. So that sound wave, it dissipates as it travels outward. So there are a lot of times when we can have a thunderstorm in northern Arkansas, and because of the curvature of the earth, because of the trees, because of the clouds, that sound wave, as it propagates outward, it gets absorbed and it dissipates. So what you're seeing sometimes, a lot of people will call it heat lightning. There's no such thing as heat lightning. All it is a thunderstorm so far on the horizon, it's lighting up the horizon, but the sound can't make it to you. It dissipates before it gets to you. So again, that's a myth. There's no such thing as heat lightning. What do you do when there's lightning in your area? Cars actually are a good place to be. Not in a tornado, but lightning does, or a car does protect you from, gives you some protection from lightning. You don't want to be near a metal fence whatsoever. And here's some other things you need to know. You don't need to be swimming. That's the last thing. That's a nice looking pool right there, by the way, with the diving pool. Needs a slide though. In the pool, when you hear thunder, get inside. In the summertime, a lot of times, I will have on Twitter and Facebook abandoned pool alert, because if you're close enough to hear the thunder, you're close enough to be struck by lightning, and that's when you need to get inside. Again, it doesn't have to be severe, the storm. All it has to do is produce lightning, and it can be deadly, and that's why we urge you to get inside when there's a thunderstorm in the summertime. A lot of times, and not a lot of times because of education nowadays that we tell people not to do this, but a lot of times golfers are out on the golf course and a thunderstorm's coming overhead and they don't want to go into the clubhouse. They want to wait it out, and they get under a tree that's standing in the middle of nowhere. Well, a tree like that, lightning is attracted to the tallest object. It's looking for the path of least resistance. So that lightning will hit that isolated, and that tree in that isolated area, because it's the tallest object, and it's looking for that path of least resistance and the discharge of those electrons. Now, Inside is a great place to be. That's where you should be whenever there's lightning, but always stay away from windows. That's always a good general rule of thumb, whether the thunderstorm is severe or not severe. Lightning fatalities in the United States. Here are some of the activities with the most fatalities according to NOAA from the years 2006 to 2018. Fishing on the beach. So that does happen quite a bit in Arkansas. People are fishing. Whenever you hear that thunder, get off the lake. We're always telling you when thunderstorms are getting close to a lake. Camping, farming, boating, gatherings, walking. I know not too long ago, there you see Construction 14. We had one of those a year or two ago in central Arkansas. Doing yard work. For instance, if you're mowing the yard and you think, gosh, I only have about half of the yard to go or a little less than half of the yard to go. I hear the thunder. I'm going to get this yard work completed now before it starts raining. No, you are in danger at that point. It doesn't need to be raining. It does not need to be raining for you to be in danger of being struck by lightning. If you hear that thunder, you can be struck by lightning. A lightning strike can hit well away from where it's actually raining within the thunderstorm. And I've got proof of that coming up in just a little bit. Roofing, a lot of times houses are getting new roofs. Workers need, the first signs that there's a thunderstorm, that sound of thunder, stop. And of course, golfing. This is really interesting too. Victims by gender. Most victims, an overwhelming majority of the victims are male compared to female. Bet you didn't know that. Lightning is the annual U.S. fatalities, again, according to NOAA, in 2018, and this is the latest complete set of data that I have. Lightning accounted for 20 deaths. Heat, by far, always, is the number one weather-related killer. People sometimes are a little surprised to hear that. Then floods and rip currents, wind, cold, lightning, tornadoes is down there on the list at 10 in 2018. But let's look at the 10 and the 30-year average. The 10-year average, again, heat always, by far, the number one weather-related fatality most of the time. Lightning goes down there at the bottom of the list, but still very significant. You look at the 30-year average, lightning a little bit higher, and hopefully it's because of education that those numbers have come down and awareness. But heat, no matter what you look at, whether it's 2018 10-year averages or 30-year averages, heat, then flooding, the number one weather-related killers. Always take heat advisories and flash flood warnings very, very seriously. So now you know all about lightning and thunderstorms, and I want to show you an example of why you should be careful. This is from a very good friend of mine, Jesse Hayes. Just an incredible summertime thunderstorm, and this goes to show you that it doesn't have to be raining to be struck by lightning. You hear that thunder and you're thinking, okay, I've just got to get this completed. I've got to get this chore completed. I've got to do this, and before the rain starts. And you can see that gray area behind that lightning strike. That's the rain coming out of the cloud. That's the big push of water out of the cloud and spreading out. It's windy, it's rainy, but way out ahead of it, somebody could be out there mowing or doing some work, and it's not raining, it's sunny, and then all of a sudden they've been struck by lightning. So I think a lot of times people are getting the message about lightning being so dangerous. Getting that message and understanding that it doesn't have to be raining to be struck by lightning. The good rule of thumb, if you hear that thunder, you're close enough to be struck by lightning. Again, another thing, heat lightning. There's no such thing as heat lightning. All that is a thunderstorm so far away, off in the distance, that the sound doesn't make it to you. The thunder doesn't make it to your location. But the light does, obviously. That's actually a thunderstorm way off in the distance. Again, if you could take a picture of your kids or your friends or whoever was watching this, take a picture and send it to me of them watching this video. And if you just came in on this, it will be posted on the Arkansas Weather Blog along with the other 4 weather lessons. You can go to the Arkansas Weather Blog and make sure that you download the KATV News app and the Weather app. They should be standard on every single smartphone in Arkansas. If anybody has a question, I'd like to answer. Oh, wait just 1 second. I'm looking at some of the... Jake says, let me move this up a little bit. Lightning, it's hotter than this, way hotter than the surface of the sun. It's a discharge of electrons. And go back and watch the video, and you can see that it's just like on a dry day and you touch something, you build up a charge, and then you touch a metal object, and you discharge that electricity. But this is on a much, much larger level. But you can go back and watch this video and see that. So I went over that. But anybody else got a question? I want to thank y'all very much. Again, along with pictures, if you could, send me ideas of what you want covered in the next weather lesson. I've already got another idea, and we'll go. I've got one idea, and we're going to go take these weather school lessons all the way through the end of what will be the typical school year that has been upended due to everything. So we'll just continue to go through there. This is a great question here. Why do more men get struck? Well, that's a great question. And I'm sure social scientists have a better answer than I would. But, you know, I see guys doing outdoor work, construction. There's probably more guys doing that than more males doing that than females, I would think. Not trying to be stereotypical, but that's just a fact that even though that might account for some of it. I'm sure social scientists may do that. And plus, maybe men are just hard-headed and stubborn, and we think. Because I know I do. I can get this done before this happens. Well, I don't do that anymore, and you shouldn't either. But maybe we're just hard-headed too. That has something to do with it. Anybody got any questions? Again, this will be posted on the Arkansas Weather Blog. I see comments and everything. I want to thank everybody. And again, take pictures and send them to me of everybody enjoying the weather lessons. And you can do that experiment. Whenever you hear thunder, you can count the seconds and figure out how far away approximately that lightning strike was. And obviously, if you have that flash of lightning and instantly hear the thunder, it was pretty darn close and too close for comfort.